welcome to day 4. Holy moly, have you guys not been receiving so much goodness? I can't even get over the amount of feedback we're getting, the amount of takeaways people are having. It's just been a fantastic 4 days, and we still have 10 days to go. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff. I'm really, really excited that today we have a special guest, and not every speaker is coming. So just so you know, these are very special guests that decide to take extra time out of their schedule to be with you and to offer more support in any way that they possibly can. So without further ado, today I have Miss Janet Philbins with us. Here we go. There you are.
Hey, hi.
I wish I had some music that I could like play and then introduce you. Like, how fun would that be?
I would love that. I'd be like dancing in my seat. Yeah.
You would think I would. My husband's a DJ, so maybe I'll have to figure out how to get that all.
Yeah, I'm sure he could figure it out if anyone could.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
So, Janet, thank you. Thank you. First, I just want to get everybody to know that there was some challenges that we had with your download your meditation, and we took care of that. And so I'm gonna drop the link. Actually, it's right here. So let me just put it in the comments here.
Perfect.
So if you had any problems downloading Janet's free guided meditation, here's her link here in the comments. Also, it's going to be put out in the email with tomorrow morning's email. We'll go out with everybody so that you'll definitely have access to it. So, well, welcome, Janet. Thanks so much for being here.
Of course, I'm loving it.
I know that your message is hitting home with a lot of the participants, and seeing their children as them poking them, right? That's the word you like to use.
That's my word, yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, because we actually have some listeners that aren't necessarily mothers, and how do they realize that they're getting poked?
Oh yeah, so that's such a great question. All of us, whether we're mothers or not, we're all children. So it does not matter who is actually standing in front of us doing the poking. It might be your partner, your boss, your best friend, your sibling, or your parents. Still, what happens when we get poked is that the inner child inside of us is getting woken up. And that's the one we need to take care of. In fact, I had a conversation with someone this morning, and she got poked by someone who was in like a mentor kind of role, who was there to help her, and the situation that came up was quite challenging. So it wasn't her child that poked her, even though she happens to be a mother, but this had nothing to do with her children and all to do with herself. And when we looked at what part of her is upset, and I asked her, I'm like, well, who inside, how old are you that really got upset when your mentor said this to you? And immediately said, she goes, I'm 11 and I'm in the principal's office because I used the wrong color ink on my homework, right? So this had nothing to do with her children at all, nothing to do with being a mother, but everything to do with the relationship she was in with this other adult in her life, hearing something, taking it in, and that old part of her from 30 years ago getting reactivated, getting woken up. And so then we don't respond with the wisdom of the adult self. We react with the emotional capability of the 11-year-old who was stuck in the principal's office getting punished for using the wrong color ink on her homework.
I'm closing my email because I see them popping in, and I don't want it to. Actually, I don't know. I can't close it. Never mind.
Okay.
So the question I had for you, it's interesting. So it could be a mentor, it could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a coworker. And all of these pokes is an opportunity for the person to be the person that's being poked to actually wake up and heal, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's all an opportunity to heal. So we're going to feel it. right? Something is getting shot at us. In Buddhism, it's the first arrow, second arrow kind of analogy. Someone from the outside is shooting that arrow at you. When it hits you, it hurts, right? And we're going to be in pain from getting shot. That's the external. But then the second arrow is what we do to ourselves with that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we have to pay attention. We might be able to remove the arrow because someone shot it at us. But if we are then re-injuring ourselves by the negative self-talk, maybe we get into blame, guilt, shame. We are belittling ourselves. We are critical of ourselves. We get in judgment of ourselves. Oh, I never do anything right. I'm always wrong. Look at me. How could I do this? And we're not forgiving, compassionate, or understanding. We're then taking that arrow and we're shoving it deeper and deeper into our own heart. And that's on us. What comes at us, we can't control. But what we can control is what we do once it hits us. And are you going to step into a place of self-care? And then afford yourself the time and the space to heal and grow? Or are you just going to sink deeper into that hole? So really the choice is yours. Do you want to react or do you want to respond? And then what action can you take to take care of you?
So 2 questions are coming up from that. We're getting some comments. I'm going to let some comment. They're loving this. They feel like this is a really great conversation about being poked. The first question is, so if someone's more reactive versus responsive, does that mean that there's a lot of inner healing work to do? Or could it just be the same kind of poke coming in different directions?
Both and. Both and. You know, we can be reactive to the same kind of stimuli over and over and over again. And then we have to look at our patterns. Boy, why is it every time anybody says this to me or does this to me, I always react in the same way? That's our pattern, probably coming from repeated injuries, emotional wounds that we experienced over and over and over again in our life growing up. Or maybe they're all just different things and we just are reactive because I believe our inner child is almost so raw and doesn't know how to get help. So when the person I was speaking with this morning had this big reaction to her mentor, what I said to her is it was really the 11-year-old kind of having this internal temper tantrum within you, saying, see me, I'm here, I'm in pain. So we have to pause long enough to pay attention to what's going on within us. Because I believe that when we react, what we are really doing is reenacting. We are reenacting our responses, our behaviors, our feelings from the time of the original incident or incidents if they were repeated. I hope that answered your question.
I love that. We are reenacting those times. Instead of reacting. That's so great. It like gives you such perspective on when you are reacting, that there's work that needs to be done there. So you're reacting a time in your past that was uncomfortable or hurt, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I actually explore that in a bit of detail in my book. I can't remember what chapter off the top of my head, but it is in there. I do talk about that.
Can you name the book again? Because
it's Show Up for Yourself. It's behind me over there. It's blue. I don't want to move and go grab it, bring it closer, but yeah, it's on Amazon. There's links to it on my website, but I only bring that up just because I do actually go into that a lot more in the book and really explain what that means, because it is complicated to really begin to wrap your brain around it.
I think someone that has done work on themselves, it's very clear. I think people that are just starting to tune in and doing work on yourself, it's a eye-opening conversation for them. And for both parties, but it could be that tough to wrap your head around. So that's actually leads into my second question that I had for you is, when someone is so reactive,
Hmm.
when they're so reactive and they're not even fully aware that they may even be reacting, like it's just like that's their natural it's not really our natural state, but they
Right,
believe that's their natural state. What is something that they could do just to, and I know that you commented a little bit in the interview we did this morning, the recorded interview. But what is something that someone that's so reactive, what could they do to just start to tune into the fact that they are reacting?
Yeah, I mean, I know I talked about the purposeful pause, but
Mm.
honestly, pausing really is the most powerful thing we can do. Now, what happens when we react, and we didn't talk about this in our interview, but I'm going to bring it up now because this is where the conversation is going, is our autonomic nervous system is actually in charge of all of this physiologically. So all of these big emotional reactions actually get responded to. We react because our autonomic nervous system, through a process called neuroception, which happens behind the scenes, our autonomic nervous system is always looking for cues of safety, cues of danger, cues of safety, cues of danger. We don't know this is going on. It happens at a subconscious level, just like we blink and
Mhm.
you don't count how many times you blink. We don't even think about blinking. We don't feel ourselves blinking unless something is in our eye. It just happens automatically. So we're always looking to find safety. So when something happens in our life and we don't feel safe, we react in one of three ways. We can be safe and grounded and connected, which we usually don't do when we're getting poked, but that is called the ventral vagal state. It's part of the parasympathetic nervous system, as part of the autonomic nervous system. I know this is a lot, I'm sorry. We can go into fight or flight. Many people know that term. That happens in the sympathetic part of the nervous system, where we just want to cut and run. Or we go into dorsal vagal, which is freeze, where we shut down. So we are always going to react and respond from one of those three places because we learned some time ago, this is safe for me. One person might be, it is so safe for me to shut down. I'm shutting down now. Another person is going to put their fists up and get into fight mode because they're in fight or flight. Maybe Eckhart Tolle or the Dalai Lama are going to be like, oh, I didn't like what you just said to me. And they're going to be in ventral, right? Now, that's always the goal, but we have to work to get there. So another quick trick, now that I've told you this, that I didn't share with you before, and everyone here on Facebook gets to know about it, is to take a short inhale and a long exhale, right? Or you can sigh. When we do that, physiologically, that begins to reset our nervous system. And we can move out of fight or flight and into a more calm, connected place. When we're in dorsal and when we're in fight flight, we can't access our executive functioning. So it's offline. It's like someone's taken a light switch and turned it off. So you can't even access that rational mind of yours that can think and make sense and reason. But when you're beginning to turn on the light switch, you're actually doing something physiologically in your body. It actually works with heart math and it resets. So it's impossible not to react. Let's face it, it's life. I'm reactionary. And I'm always, someone needs something from me. I make sure I exhale so I can come back into my body and be like, okay, what's happening here? So that's a little quick tip that you can use along with the purposeful pause, which I discussed with everybody already. And that is really outlined in my book as well. There's a whole chapter, I think, called The Purposeful Pause.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. There is actually so many of my clients that I'm thinking of that alone will just help them so much. So I'll make sure they go ahead and watch this.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to learn more about that, it's actually called Polyvagal Theory. It was developed by Stephen Porges, who's an MD, and it's been out there in the medical world for about 30 years. So there's tons of research on it. This is real. This is real physiology, real neurobiology. So like, I'm not just pulling this out of the back of my head. This is real stuff. I've been certified in it and trained in it. So it's really good information to have to help you understand yourself better.
I love that. And I love this. I love both components of real scientific energy. And I also love the stuff that isn't proven that still works, because it's all what your mind thinks and says and all of that. So I'm a proponent of both. I love both sides of the fence. And so going back to, and I think, gosh, just learning that we are all reactive. I feel that there's so many people out there that think they have to live this perfect life, right? Like, you live in this way where you never get mad, you never get upset, or you don't get frustrated and all that. And, I often say to my clients, I said, yes, those are the emotions I lived in. I said, but after you do the work, it's not that they never show up again. It's just I don't live in those anymore. So I feel that this gives people perspective in that, you know what, we're reactive. We can take our emotions and get back to ourself after our pause.
Right.
And move back into whatever direction we need to go.
Exactly. So we're in control. So we're really talking about, and this has been a lot of the theme of the summit, and, we have a lot more days to go, and it's been really awesome, but about reclaiming yourself, right? Mm-hmm. This is one of those steps. This is self-empowering, and we're all empowered to do that. Every single one of us, no matter which way you go. It's all there for each of us. And it's not a cookie cutter approach. So what works for one person isn't going to work for another. But when you arm yourself with different information, when you give yourself permission to explore different things, you can say, oh, this works for me. That one, not so much. And that's okay.
Yep. And that is actually one of the reasons I put together so many different experts, is because we as humans know what works we as individuals know in our heart what's going to work for us. So whatever is called and inspired, whatever you're called and inspired to do and take action on, that's where you go, and that's where you're focused, because that's what your soul is longing for.
Right.
I'm going to read a couple of these comments to you. Can you?
I can see them, but I'm trying not to avert my eyes. But yeah. Oh, we lost Brenda. Oh, Brenda's back.
No, this keeps happening. I don't know why. They love this whole reactionary and reenacting. I wish I could see who they all are. And the big sigh. So anybody have a question for Janet? Go ahead and pop it in. We'll happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep asking the questions that I want to know the answers to. So if we go back to there's and I know that you do hypnosis for a living, and I'm not asking you to work on people here or anything like that, but my question is, now they have this awareness that their 11-year-old is being poked, right? Or their 5-year-old's being poked. What's the next step?
Self-care. Susie talked about that a lot on day one, but self-care is really the next step. So how do you need to take care of yourself, right? When people find that inner child and they don't really know what to do next. Okay, I know it's my 7-year-old that's like having a temper tantrum right now. Now what do I do? We have to ask ourselves. We have to stop and tune in. What if my 7-year-old was sitting in front of me right now, and I could have a talk with that little boy or that little girl? I know we're all women here, but what would that one say to me, and what do they really need to hear? Right? Because every child just wants to be seen, heard, understood, validated, know they're worthy, know they're loved, and know they're safe. Dan Siegel talks about it. The 3 S's: safe, seen, and secure. That's all children want. So you can talk to your own inner child. You could do it through journaling. I like to encourage people, with your dominant hand, ask the question, and with your non-dominant hand, write the answer. And that will help you access, it might be really sloppy, but it will help you access the subconscious. So you could do it that way, or you could just journal. I said, she said, I said, she said, but ask and validate. I hear you. I see you. Your feelings are important. That time in your life was really hard. I'm sorry. No one ever took care of you. I'm here to take care of you now. And engage. Don't be afraid to engage in conversation with that younger self.
Yeah, I love that exercise, and I'll do it. I'll ask the question, do a meditation, and then write with my left hand. So good stuff. Such good stuff. Somebody said that was my question when I asked.
Awesome.
So, awesome. Glad you got clarity. Is there anything else you feel called to share?
There's always stuff I can talk about. I'm just trying to tune into what the people who are here. I mean, thank you. First of all, I mean, deep gratitude to everyone that took time out of the middle of their day, no matter what you're doing, because everyone is so pulled in directions. And just, I want everyone to just pause a moment and thank themselves. I'm thanking you, but really just honor yourself that you stopped your day to tune in with Brenda, and I'm honored because you're here with me. And just thank yourself, because you're here for you. And that's part of showing up for you, because I'm sure you could be doing work or something in your home or attending to someone who is demanding of your time, but instead you put yourself first, and then you're letting yourself know you're valuable and you're important and I care about you. And that's really important to recognize. So I did want to recognize everybody who's here live for that, or who takes the time. I don't know if they can watch it on replay, who takes the time to watch it on replay, if that's something they're able to do. So that's super important to recognize yourself.
I think that's so important, and so many moms and women need to hear that, and they're going to hear that for the next 10 days. I can tell you that. And you know, it's the way we learn is through repetition. So, and each speaker, including yourself, is validating the speaker before, and it's just a beautiful thing. So it's just It's very cool. Awesome. Here's another question I have for you, and I don't see another question here, but it's coming to my mind. The triggers, the young child that's being poked. You had mentioned to get it out through journaling and self-care. And I guess my question to you is, that self-care process will look different for everybody. I believe you said that. And not I don't know if this is your area of expertise or not, but in my experience, emotions and trauma get stuck in the body, right? And do you have a way that you could, outside of journaling, is there another thought process that you can, because I personally, I'm not a journaler. It never really was a big release for me. It is sometimes, once in a while. Like I said, I'll do the meditation. And I mean, actually in January of this year, that was what I was being called to do. And I think this is an important thing to mention. That's what I was being called to do in January. I'm not being called to do that now. I'm being called to like move my body, like either through exercise or dance or something like that. That's actually where I'm at right now. So I guess you have, I don't know what I'm asking you, except is there perspective on what exactly is self-care, right? Because a lot of people think it's like getting your nails done or a bubble bath, and all of that might be self-care at that time as well. But I feel like there's a layer to that could be delayered.
No, thank you. Actually, that my spiral healing that I talk about in the book, Feel, Heal, Grow, and Love, self-care is part of love. And it's not necessarily, as you say, about manicures and getting your hair colored and buying nice clothing. That's nice, but it's external. So when we do that, we're looking for the external to help us feel better on the internal. So we want to find things that fuel our soul from the inside out. And so in January, you were journaling. Now in April, you're moving your body. Maybe in June, you're going to be sitting in stillness. So it's different for everyone. And I think it does have a season. I go through periods of time where I'm journaling a lot, where I'm meditating a lot, or I'm doing it less. Sometimes I want to get on my yoga mat and do yoga. That really fuels my soul. Other times I want no part of sitting still and I need to get out and take a walk, right? So what do you do to fuel your soul? Maybe someone else is doing something creative like painting or drawing or singing, or maybe you play an instrument. Maybe that's your self-care. Maybe you do volunteer work. Maybe that's your self-care because it gives you back so much. So what can you do that is making you sacred? Because a lot of people think that if I am not being self-sacrificing and giving to others, giving to others, giving to others, that something is wrong with them. But what we need to do as women is make ourselves sacred. So self-care really has to become an act, and with intention. Intention is so important, of making yourself sacred. So maybe you are going to get your nails done, but maybe in that hour you're getting your nails done, you've set the intention that this is my sacred time. And I'm going to actually tell the nail technician, I don't want to talk. So there's no need to make small talk. I want to sit here in quiet. That would be really caring of yourself, wouldn't it? Right? Because we've created a boundary and we've set ourselves up for success. And we leave that nail salon going, not only do my nails look good, but I feel good. Right? And we've slowed down just enough to take care of ourselves in a sacred way. So I hope that's making sense.
I love that. I love the fact that self-care is just whatever it is, but that whole idea of that we are the sacred space.
Right.
You are, I am, and you that are listening, is the sacred space, and whatever that means and whatever you need to feel sacred, whether it's good nutrition, whether it's yoga, whether it's dance, whether it's creativity, and just that whole part on, who else? Are you drop below of just getting your nails done just had a whole new meaning to it. Like, that's amazing. I don't get my nails done. But I just think like, now I can, when I do, I can have that intention of, this is my hour. This is for me. And I don't need to talk or do anything. I just need to be. I love that.
Because what if we just let ourselves be? Because I used to get my nails done before the pandemic. I was like an every 3 week, nail woman, which I stopped, and I actually like it better now. But I really need a pedicure. I don't know about anyone else out there, but it's getting towards summer and I really need a pedicure. And also hasn't happened since before last summer because of the pandemic. But what do we do when we're sitting there getting a pedicure? We're on our phones. And so when we do that, we're also outside of ourselves. We're looking for outside something to entertain us, to make us feel better. Oh, we better not miss anything. All that FOMO comes out. When you're getting your nails done, you can't touch your phone. But when you're getting a pedicure, go into the salon. Who's not on their phone? What if you did an experiment with yourself? We can challenge you here. And don't pick up your phone while you get a pedicure.
Maybe leave it in the car.
Leave it in the car, or some people can't because they have young kids, but you could read a book. Maybe you could just listen to music, or you could just, again, sit in silence. What would it be like without that phone for the 45 minutes or the hour when your hands were free, but you were doing something nice for yourself? I think that'd be a great challenge. That just popped
up for the challenge. Drop below. Pedicure challenge.
I love it.
That's awesome. And that brings up this other thought that I have, is that so many people think that it's the right way to do something. There's a right way and a wrong way to do something. There's the right self-care. We have to sit quiet in meditation. And yes, that works. And I do that.
Me too.
Right? Like you said, you get called to do whatever. And that there's a right way to receive guidance, and there's a right way to, heal from your pokes, so this concept that there's not a right or wrong way. It's the intention, and the words I use is the energy behind it that you that you're looking into, or experience, or the experience, the intention behind the experience.
Exactly. But I mean, that's perfect. It is all intention behind the experience. It's all the energy you bring to it, right? So even before you enter a conversation, before I entered this conversation with you today, right? I took 2 or 3 minutes and I sat and I did nothing. And I just said, this is a time for me to connect with Brenda and connect with the audience. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I really had no idea. And I just knew I would be in flow with you and, just be here, even though we're in 2 different places and everyone's from all around the earth, I'm assuming.
Yep.
We can all be connected because it's that energy of intention. What do you want to bring? How do you want to show up? What do you want to take from it?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Janet, I thank you so much for dedicating not the time for her other interview, but coming here and dedicating your time here to show up for these women. I'm going to put the name of your book in here. What's it called again?
Show Up for Yourself. There you go. So easy. And just anyone who came late, the link in the talk yesterday was faulty. So Brenda had put the link somewhere in here, the new link, it should work. And it's going to go out with the emails again tomorrow. So definitely please download that free meditation. I really want everyone to use it and take advantage of it for your highest and greatest good. It has nothing to do with me. It's for you.
Yeah, do it. All of these gifts and all the speakers are amazing. I had the opportunity to check some of them out before the launch, but I encourage everybody to go for it. And, if you're a reader, books are great to support you in your process as well and educate you. So I feel, show up for yourself. That's kind of the theme of the whole conference. In order to reconnect with yourself, you need to show up for yourself.
And that's actually the first chapter, a conscious relationship with yourself. It's the first chapter because we can't be in relationship with others until we're in that relationship with ourselves.
So anybody out there, and I know that my clients that are listening, if you are wanting to manifest a relationship, just hear what Janet just said. You cannot attract that into your life until you show up and have a conscious relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So good stuff. Well, I'm going to close out today. I appreciate you so much. Is there any last things you would like to share?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who's here. If anyone has any questions for me, it comes to you afterwards. Tag me in the Facebook group. I pay attention to when I get tagged, and I will 110% respond. So definitely feel free during the length of what's left of the summit to tag me, reach out, ask your questions. I am here.
Awesome. And I'm putting all of these live interviews in the guide section on the Facebook group page.
Oh, okay.
So cool. It's easy to reference and go back to. The word guide is on the left-hand side of your page. Right. So for those that want to catch everybody else's and then find this replay easily, they can head there. Yeah. So thank you so much, Janet.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too, and I appreciate everyone who's here, and I hope to see you all over the place on social media. And definitely let me know if you download the meditation, how you did with it. Did you like it? Did it help you? Did it suck? Like, maybe it's not for everybody, So
thank you.
Never know. Hey, I like feedback. So honestly, if there's something in there that doesn't work, give it to me. I can really handle it.
Very awesome.
All right.
Well, make sure you tune in and look for the prize post. There's a question yesterday and more today. At the end of the week, I'll be announcing some prize winners. So thanks so much, Janet, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye.